Hi there, I am Diane Simmons from Cake Connection in Jackson, Michigan, and today I am going to show you some super advanced, but we're stepping a little bit beyond the basics with some cookie decorating. Okay, this is not huge skill sets as far, don't freak out and think that, oh, I can't do that. Yes, you can. Okay, we're gonna make stuff a little bit easier for you today. So, what I am going to show today, well, first, we're going to show today's prize giveaway. Woo woo! All right, we have some ready-to-use royal icing by Celebakes. Celebakes is basically CK Products. They're just rebranding some of their items, so it is still same great company you've known and trusted over the years, but they're now labeled under Celebakes. We have some tipless bags. We're just doing 2 of them today. We've got the larger size of both the smooth and the textured. A couple of the brushes that we're going to be using today, as well as a texture mat. Okay, but to get entered, you need to let us know that you're here while we're on live. So just give us a shout out, say hi. We've got Jacqueline back there writing down names, and she's already pre-drawn a random number of the person that comments, so you may have already won. We don't know. But you gotta let us know you're here. It may be the last person that says hi. We just don't know. We'll announce the winner at the end of the show. All right, so today, I'm going to do a couple different designs. First thing I want to show you, though, we're going to do some brush embroidery, but I am going to make a parchment bag, okay? Many of you just buy parchment paper in rolls. You don't have to buy the pre-cut triangles. So from a roll, I've just ripped off a couple pieces here. And we just want to get this squared up. Does not have to be super exact measurements with a ruler or anything. So once you have that folded in half, you can just take a sharp knife and go in and cut. And you can keep making these as small as you want. Or you can crease it and go back in with some scissors. That works just fine also. Okay. So to make a parchment cone, long sides at the top, and I'm going to do this backwards, so I've got the paper curling a little bit that way, so I just want to roll it that way. But I'll do this here so you guys can see. You want to take your tip and go around and down, so everything's going to end up down here at that point. All right, so there's our first one we went around. We're going to take this one, go around and down to that point. All right. Then once you have everything there, you can wiggle them around a little bit to get a sharper point at the end. But just keep everything up here together. All right, hopefully that is showing up on the screen. I told Eric that you guys are going to want to see really close zoom-ins today for this stuff. And then I'm simply folding that over a couple times just to lock it in place. Another thing you can do is just a couple little snips and fold that back. That will help keep those from sliding around, and it basically locks your bag in place once you have that set. Okay? So here we'll do another one with a bigger triangle. You want to take all your points down to that tip. Okay? So we're going to go around and down. Here's our first one. And around and down. And that may very well have been more More schooling than you wanted this early in the morning, right? Especially for our folks out west, where it's super early for you. And again, just going to snip a couple, just to put a little fold in there and lock everything in place. Okay, you can also certainly take some tape, put on there if you want. That works fine. And then I'm just going to snip the end of this, and I'm dropping down in a tip number 4 for this. Whoops, it is not wanting to play today. There we go. So we have a tip down in there. Now you can, a lot of people will just snip these and use them as is, okay? I'm not a big fan of it, just I've never been able to get a really nice point on them. I'm a little persnickety. I want my lines nice and round. The reason I'm doing this also, if you watched yesterday, I know we used just the tipless bags. However, once we get going here, you will understand why we need something a little bit stronger than the tipless bags. As I mentioned yesterday, they don't always, they're not really intended for a stiffer icing, which is what we are going to use for the brushed embroidery. Okay, so I have, and I'm going to show you guys the difference here. So we have just some of our flooding icing. Then I have a thicker, this would be more an outline icing, okay, if you wanted to outline your cookies. And then, I'm going to show you this all 3 ways here. Then I took some of our icing that I made yesterday, and for this little amount here, this would have been originally the thicker, what I would call the outline consistency. I added about 2 more tablespoons of powdered sugar to this. Okay? And what you are looking for is a very stiff icing. And again, if you're just joining us, be sure and just do a quick shout out, say hi, let us know you're here so you can get entered to win today's giveaway. I'm trying to keep the giveaways around anywhere $35, $40 in value, so they're nice little prize packets, I think. Something fun to break up all the ick going on in the world right now. So I've got some stiff icing. We're going to put that down in the bag. And I'm just pinching the blade between my thumb and my first finger to keep everything down in there. And we do not need a lot of it. Basically just enough for a handful. Okay, and then I'm going to fold the bag over and fold that down a little bit. And we are ready to pipe with that. Okay? So, with brush embroidery, and here's where I want to show you the difference, what we can do. And this is something, it looks very time consuming. Honestly, it's not. It's not bad at all. Okay? I have a couple different brushes here, and hopefully this will show up. We'll try it against the pink, and then I may put it against silver too. Are you zoomed in as far as you can, Eric?
They can see the difference.
Okay. My head of production is saying you can see the difference. So this right here, this one, is called a Wisp. W-I-S-P, a wisp brush, okay? And then I can't believe I just totally blanked on the name on the other. Oh my gosh. Oh, I really did. I literally just totally blanked on the other. Eric, go look at my computer. I just put these on the products. Oh my gosh, you guys, I am so sorry. I honestly, when I grab them, I refer to all of them as my wisp brushes. But I know I need them for brush embroidery. This one has thin down end on it. We'll see if I move them around a little bit with this, if you can see that. Kind of like if you thin out your hair, basically. When you go to your hairstylist, back when they used to do a lot of the thinning, these ends, like that last 1/8 of an inch or so, 1/16 of an inch, I guess, is thinned out. Okay, so there's not as many bristles down there. So either one of these, you get two totally different looks. I'm going to show you both. Okay. And it sounds like Eric's not finding that. I promise I will get you the name of the other brush before we're done here. Comb brush. Okay, thank you. It is a comb. C-O-M-B. A comb brush. I'm sorry about that, everybody. So we have a wisp brush and a comb brush. All right? So we're going to start out here, and I'm just doing this on just some pink paper, purely so it'll show up nice for you to see the difference, okay? So the first one I'm going to do, this is just our flooding consistency icing. All right? And we're going to do each brush. When you do brush embroidery, you want to dip it in water, but then get most of your excess water off, okay? So I just went in the water and tap most of it off there, all right? And then you just come in the edge of that and pull your lines out. And we'll do the same thing with the other brush. Okay? Now, we're going to do our next one. Oops, I have not trimmed this, open this bag up yet. Throw some glasses on here too. Okay, so we're going to trim this, and as we talked about yesterday, with our tipless bags, we're putting the seam facing up, and then we're cutting against that, just to put a little opening on there. Okay, so again, this is our slightly thicker than flooding, what I would use if I were going to outline. Whoops. Air bubble in there. All right, and we're going back in the water with our brush. First one we're doing is the wisp brush. And the next one, we're going to use the comb brush. Getting most of the water off of it. And brushing that out. Okay, now, if you look back at our flooding, you'll see that is already blending back together, okay? Just because the icing's so thick, or so thin.
And then, can you remind us of why the seam needs to be up on the...
Okay, I'm asked, why does the seam need to be up on the tipless bags when you cut them? It's just so you cut against, you want it right in the middle when you're cutting against it, so it will just give you a truer round cut when you do it. Okay, you're not as likely to jog off and get an uneven cut that way. All right, and then here we have the very stiff icing and dye not doing enough pressure. We'll just wipe that away.
Can you see the comment?
Okay, so again, this is our very stiff icing. We're going back in the water. Got most of the excess off on the paper towel and brushing that out. And we will do the last one. Okay. So there, you can see the difference. Again, this is our flooding consistency. You can see where it's all basically blending back together, okay? This is more the outline consistency. You can see the lines, they're okay. but the stiffer is definitely going to give you the most detail. All right? So, with that in mind, we are going to work now. If you are good at freehanding flowers and drawing them, go for it by all means. You can use an edible marker, draw out your design. If you happen to have a projector of some sort, you could project a picture down and just do a quick outline of what you need on there. If you don't have all the fancy toys and tools, you can certainly use some cutters, okay? I'm going to show you that today. And these cookies I iced yesterday. Someone did ask, does icing stay somewhat soft? Okay, it is hard enough. Okay, I'm hitting it fairly hard. I'm not breaking it. So yes, you absolutely could bag these, but you also try not to go too hard and bust totally through this. Okay. And I'm just going to put a couple of these. These are just hydrangeas. Whoops. I did a very big bust through there. I'll give it all this other petal in here. All right. So I'm just doing a couple flowers. This is a PME plunger cutter that will also, you know, kind of use what you have around. Don't feel you gotta do something special. And this is just to get your basic shapes on there, all right? And I'm going to rub back over just anywhere that the icing kind of popped up and left little creases on there. So to do the brush embroidery, you basically want to do one petal at a time, okay? And with royal icing, stiffer royal icing especially, squirt a little excess out, because more than likely right at the very tip, end of your tip, you've gotten a little bit of a crust on there, okay? So anytime before you go to squeeze and start new piping, clean that off. All right, so I am going to use the comb brush for mine. All right, and I probably should have grabbed a smaller comb brush. These actually come in 1/4 inch and 1/8 inch. We have them available. A little bit easier to get in here with a smaller brush. Now you can, if you don't have the fancy schmancy brushes, you can absolutely use just an individual brush for the, okay? And actually, I will have Eric grab me one while I'm working on this. Eric, could you grab me one of just a small brush out of there, please?
How small?
The very, very small ones.
Gotcha.
Then we have a question if we sell the whisk brush.
Too small.
We do actually a little bit smaller if we've got. There's one sitting there. Yes, we do sell the whisk brush. I just got those online this morning. I checked before I did the class and discovered I did not have them on there, so they are on there now. Okay, and right here I'm just getting some of this excess out. I had a little bit more in there than what I wanted. All right. So I'm going to do this next petal with an individual. Eric just grabbed me. This is a number 5 for what that matters to anybody. If you're really into your brushes and know what's what, it's a number 5. Okay. So you can see it's just a single. It will work. You're going to see it takes a little bit longer because you just have to sit here and go all the way around bit by bit. Now if you notice, I'm turning the cookie as I'm going, I always want to come back into the middle. So imagine your vein line on there. I just keep pulling back towards that. Okay.
And then we had a question. If you can use unused paintbrushes, or are there food safe ones?
I honestly just go purchase brushes at like Michael's, Joann's a lot of times, something like this. I just pick up, sometimes I'll get sets, but I don't want to admit some of the money I've spent on brushes over the years, because I will go buy and spend the money to get nice brushes. I am unaware of there being a food safe option or a food grade brush per se. I just obviously don't use these for anything but food. And I do clean them off and sanitize them beforehand. Okay. So then the leaf. Oops. Not exactly how I wanted to pipe that. My bad. Oh my goodness. That was awful. Awful piping. What happens when you're not working how you normally do. Trying to keep this over there for you guys so you can see a little better. Okay, we're going to repipe that leaf. And now typically, if this were something I were doing for an order or whatnot, I probably would get or would make some green for the leaf instead of doing this all white, but just depends on the look I want. Okay.
And then we also had another question saying, what do you use to sanitize your brushes with?
I do what absolutely every painter artist would scream and yell about. I throw my brushes right in my dishwater with some bleach. And that is like the number one. They don't like that when you do that. But I don't care. I'm a bleach person. And yes, I will admit I have had brushes over the years. Literally the bristles disintegrate because I do that. But again, I'm alright with that.
Are you going for a feathery look where you see the brush strokes?
Yes, that is basically the, I guess, point or the look that you're going for with brush embroidery, is to get a more feathery look, okay? And I don't know if I want to leave that center like that. I'm not sure. I don't think that was really the look I wanted with that. Let's take that right back out. Soft icing is your friend. Easily removed. Okay. I just grabbed, I had some yellow sitting here from yesterday. I'm going to put a little dot of yellow in the center instead. And then I'm going to dampen my paintbrush and just tap that top down. Okay, yes, I like that better. Alright, so that, we'll have Eric zoom in on that. That is brushed embroidery. Okay. And I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me finish that off. I'll finish it up and post a picture later on. I'll set that down there. It's a little time consuming, yes, but I think it's so worth it. And once you get used to doing it, honestly, you can go a lot faster with it too. Okay,
Got a
so.
question from
We have a question. Yes.
If you were to paint them later, would you use alcohol and food color, or water and food color to get the color on?
If I were going to paint them later, I It would depend on the look I wanted. If I wanted something a real soft look, I might try doing some dry petal dust. Actually, maybe later this afternoon, after I get done filming this, I'll do a couple experiments and look at that. Typically, I would just make the icing the color I wanted, so I wouldn't worry so much about painting it after. But if I wanted it gold, for example, definitely I would mix some luster dust with some vodka, something that's going to evaporate real quick. You don't want to do water with any of this because it will start pitting away and eating your icing. Okay? You want either vodka or lemon extract, something that's going to evaporate very quickly for you. Okay? So, next thing we're going to move on to is texturing your royal icing. I was sitting here playing yesterday after we got done filming. And look what I did. Does that show up?
If you tilt it
Am I tilting it right
down,
way?
just quit. Just
Yep, just like that.
Okay. How cool is that? So now you could take some petal dust, you could take some vodka and food color, mix back in, which I'm going to do later, but I wanted to show you guys the plain first, okay? But we can paint this up. So when I did that, then I grabbed one of my wood things because I thought, oh, I can make like the side of a barn type thing. I did not mix another batch of cookies up to make an actual barn, but I did mix up some red icing. So this one I flooded right around 10 o'clock, so about an hour and a half ago, okay? It is firm to the touch. It is definitely not set all the way, okay? And this is just an impression mat, all right? There are tons of different plastic impression mats out there. I have not tried the silicone ones. I'm assuming they would work also. Experiment, people. This yesterday was the first time I tried this and thought, oh, okay, I know exactly what I'm doing for the advanced thing then. Okay, so I am just setting this on there lightly. Pressure, I don't even know how to, I'm going to press, but I don't want to press too hard. Oh, my icing is not set enough. Okay, we're going to pull some back up. I thought I had done the cookie soon enough. My other ones I did wait about hour 45, 2 hours right in there before I did this. And I forgot to ice this cookie before. I meant to do it around 9:30. So that's my fault. So I promise you this works. I've got some samples over here that I did yesterday. Wait closer to 2 hours, okay? That said, different icing recipes may be a different time scale with that, all right? So here you can see I pulled some back up. Now, I did have one yesterday that I did too soon. Now, granted, I did this on the white. So I don't know if it's going to show up so much on there. But I had the same issue, and I actually pulled off a chunk. I put some more icing down in it and went back and hit it a little bit later and was able to get all the marks in there. Okay?
Oh, a little bit more at an angle towards Eric. A little bit.
Is that showing? Nope. Okay, they're saying you can so see it on the screen.
That's generous.
But this one, as I said, I had this exact problem with it yesterday and just went back a little later and it's fine, okay?
And what would you call this?
This is just adding an impression to Royal Icing. Okay? So, here are some. See, I really did have some successful runs yesterday. All right. Like I said, you just need to wait about 2 hours. But again, that's with the recipe that I'm using and just my normal flood consistency. If your icing happens to be a little thicker or different recipe type thing, you're going to want to experiment with your own. Make a couple extra, play with it, and see what works. Okay. So, back to our fun brushes that we have. This is just some black icing that is the flood consistency again. And I've got a couple different thoughts with this.
Someone asked if you could lightly roll with a fondant roller for the application, I'm assuming.
I don't know that you'd want to put that much pressure on it to use a fondant roller or fondant smoother or anything. I was just very gently going around and just pressing it and lifting off. I don't have a good answer on that. My gut instinct would be that no, you don't want to put that much pressure on solid like that, but I don't know. Let's see. Okay, so I want to just do some highlights in here. I just dipped my brush in the water and I'm basically thinning out the black. I'm not sure this is the brush I want to use. No, it's not really giving me the look. Okay, we're going to switch over to the comb brush instead. All right. I want to do just some wispy highlights on here. Getting a little bit more water. If any of you have ever done ceramics over the years, I'm wanting to do kind of a dry brush sort of look. But I'm hoping to just hit and highlight where the crevices are on there. Okay. I'm just doing very quick brushes over this. And my brush, I'm hoping this is going to show up on there. I'm just going to do half of it so you can see. My brush is just kind of stopping itself and grabbing where the bumps and ridges are in there. I just want to give it kind of a weathered wood look. Sorry. Okay. And this is just some of the white flood icing. And I'll do the same thing with that. And I'm going with the grain of the wood where I did the impression in there. Okay, I am totally not getting the look I want, so we're going to switch gears really quick here. Hang on. The joy of having everything right here. We are busting out the vodka this morning. It's coming. And let me go grab a paint tray. So, if at first you don't succeed, don't give up. Holy cannoli-oli. Don't pour from the big bottle. Goodness. All right. There I just had to dump a little bit of the extra vodka that just spilled all over. Down the garbage goes the vodka. Okay, so back at it. We have vodka, and I'm going to go over in the other one because I think that's a lot more vodka than what I want in there. And I forgot this bottle's empty.
Black.
Yes, black. Oh, there, I got some. We're good. Okay. White food color by nature is always a lot thinner. Am I open? Oops, I am. Alright. So there we have some black and some white. And I'm just going to take the end of my paintbrush and just get a couple drops. Alright, we'll go with the other end. I just want a little bit of vodka in these. Certainly not that whole big tray worth. Alright. So back to our wispy brush. And I'm going to get the excess off. And then we'll go, oh, much, much better. That is the look I wanted. Okay, so again, we are using kind of what I would consider a dry brushing painting technique. Let me get a little more vodka in the black there. This is something I did happen to paint ceramics many years ago when I was a kid. And my dad's girlfriend does ceramics. So I started painting them again every now and then. Kind of got back into it, reminded me some of the stuff that I'd learned many years ago. But dry brushing was one of the things that we did in ceramics. And essentially what you're doing is drying most of the paint off of your brush. So you just get some highlights. And I did not get enough of the black off there, but so you can still see. So compared to our plain, and I think I might go hit that again with just a touch more white just to kind of cover up some of that black. That got a little bit intense for me there. Okay. So there we go. And then, yeah, keep my, yes I did. So if I had the actual shape right here, but for our barn, we would want some doors on there. So I'm just going back with my black icing and piping some doors on. And every barn has to have a window up above so the kids can kick hay and jump out and scare their mom half to death or their grandma, right? Yes, I am totally speaking from experience. That is the one thing I really remember. We used to go up to my grandparents' house in Breckenridge many, many years ago. And they had a barn out there. And I can still remember us kids going up there and playing around when there was still hay in it. Now, I grew up on a farm, apparently my dad was smarter than others. We did not have windows in our barn. I think he knew what we would do. But I can attest, we still found things to jump off of. Because we had ladders inside the barn going way up high. But I guess at least that way Mom couldn't see what we were doing, right? Now I have some green that I made. And I'm going to pipe out a little bit down here. Grab our brush. Just a minute, I have to get rid of this. That is way too dirty to have you guys be seeing that. Okay, so back to our brush. Getting most of the water off it. And we're just going to do that brush embroidery look to give us some grass. Okay, and I'm going to go on the side here and just pull some, just a little bit higher here and there. Okay. Now you could also, my tips are way too open on that. I'm going to do that. I have some yellow in here, but I'm not going to do this because I know I'll get too much icing out. You could certainly pipe some vines up if you wanted to have something a little more flowery looking. Because there's always random things growing out by the barns, right? Here, I'll make this work. All right, I just opened my yellow up quite a bit. Gonna squeeze some down in a parchment bag here. And I did that with no cone on, or no tip on it. So I have just a very small little opening there. And nothing fancy, I'm literally just hitting some quick little spots on there, just to give the illusion of some sort of a flower-ish type thing. Okay? All right, so there we have just a few quick and simple, like I said, beyond the basics, but nothing too intense. Okay, and do we have a winner?
We do, in fact. A Miss Wendy Bradford.
Wendy! Woohoo!
B-R-A Ford.
All right. I have not seen Wendy in quite some time. I knew her years ago. I think we first met for Michigan ISIS group, which is a cake decorator group. I don't know that they're doing too much anymore, but congratulations, Wendy. Send me a message or I will get in touch with you. I believe you live over in the Detroit area somewhere. I'm not totally sure where. But anyway, I think you're quite a ways out of town, so we can get this shipped out to you. Or if you want to wait and come over after the closure, after the closure is done, you are absolutely more than welcome. We love seeing people here in the store, just not right now. But So that is it for today. And tomorrow, if you did not see our announcement, we will be doing Russian tips. So I'm going to bake some cupcakes this afternoon. And we're going to play around with Russian tips. And then on Friday, I have a few of our extra cookies. I've already got them iced and ready and waiting for this. We are going to bust out the airbrush. Woohoo! I plan on going through, I'm going to show you how to do some basic cleaning with it. I know that's probably our number one question we get here. When people buy the airbrushes, they come back in and say, my airbrush is broke, it's not working, it's spitting, it's clogged, it's whatever. And every time I've been able I take them apart, I bring people back here in the back, show them how to take it apart and clean their needle. Solves the problem, okay? Do not be afraid of your airbrush, or at least join us Friday, and then you won't be afraid of your airbrush. Alrighty? So, thank you so much for joining. Hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. Bye-bye.